The opinions expressed in the following programs are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Rogers Cable or Rogers TV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Helping Durham Region. I'm your host, Rob MacArthur. Thanks for joining us. My guest tonight is James Meloche, and he is the CEO of Community Care Durham. James, welcome to the show.
Hi, Rob. Thank you for having me.
Oh, great. So give us a little bit background about yourself. Why you got involved with Community Care Durham, what you've been doing and things like that.
Well, first of all, I can say I've been a resident of Durham Region for almost my entire life, other than going away for grad school and university. I've raised a family here. I know all the communities, so I have a real attachment to the region. About when I finished school, I thought I was going to be an academic, and then I got hired into the Ministry of Health doing policy, and I thought that was interesting. But then I thought I wanted to be a little closer to where the action really happens in the healthcare system. And so I was involved here in various kind of healthcare initiatives. And about 5 years ago, joined Community Care Durham, and I love it. It's a great job. I think the organization does great things, and we can do great things there. I also love it. It aligns with my value system and my purpose in life. So I'm really happy to be doing this work.
It's great to have a job where your passions are as well.
Yeah, I know they always tell people, you tell your kid to find a job where your passion is, and well, first off, you have to find out what's important to you, and
Yes.
and then you can find that. So
That's right. Yeah. Give us a little background on Community Care Durham. How it got started and things like that.
yeah, it's actually kind of a romantic start, I think I call it. Back in the 1977, various groups across Durham Region met in social councils, sometimes in churches, sometimes in town halls, and they created these social active communities to help deliver food to people. And it was a way to connect Durham residents or Scugog residents or Ajax residents or Picking residents to help them who are living at home. And, it was just a handful of volunteers meeting, self-organizing, that eventually became what we are today, which is a $16 million organization with 350 staff and almost 1,000 volunteers and near 10,000 clients. So our grassroots really is volunteerism and community, and we're still there, but we've grown immensely.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what are some of the programs that you have, or list all the programs you have at Community Care Durham that people might be interested in hearing of?
It's a long list. I think when I tell people about Community Care Durham, they're often surprised to know all the things we do. And they tend to know us maybe for one program or several, but Meals on Wheels is probably our most popular program.
Right.
During the pandemic, we delivered over 150,000 meals across Durham Region a year. Right now, we're about 110,000 meals, but we're much more than that. We have two areas of division. One is our community support services. So this is Meals on Wheels, transportation services, foot care, lunch and out, friendly visiting, our adult day program, which is tremendously popular. And those are kind of our community services. Then we have our in-home support programs, and that's where we support individuals in home with our personal support care teams and our small nursing group.
Right.
And they live in home, and we go into their home and provide care to them there. And we have also a mental health and wellness program called COPE, which is run by volunteers that connects. We had 17,000 participants last year.
Wow.
Engaging in virtual meetings like this or through face-to-face on a number of topics around their mental wellness. So those are the three areas that we provide services in.
That's a lot. For sure.
We really are a wraparound service. We have a very holistic view of the person. And wherever we try, when we take a client on, they often call us for one thing. And as a nonprofit, we're not looking to sell or to charge up. But we are always interested to understand what people's needs are. And so when they call our number, there's an individual on the phone. They'll do an interview, have a discussion with them, and then start to offer some of the services they weren't even aware we offered, because they might need more than just one thing.
Right, right. So the demographics of the people that call you? All ages, all, or any specific?
Yeah. So we have clients from 16 to 106. In
Wow.
fact, one of my team was telling me, I think we have over a dozen individuals who we serve are over 100 years old.
Wow.
And I don't look at age as being, kind of a disease or a diagnosis. I look at it as just where you are in your life's trajectory.
Yep.
Many of our programs are geared towards an older adult, and that's just the nature of when they need us. So you might have some programs where their average age is 78 to 82. And then in our COPE mental health program, we have clients who are, teens, 30s, 40s, much younger. I will say this, Rob, we're finding people earlier than we were before. We're finding
Right.
people who are struggling at an earlier age. And our new food programs are hitting younger families, that is new to us. So we do cover the gamut as far as age groups.
Well, and that's a good sign that they're aware of this, that the help's there if they need it.
Yes, and some people, their health conditions, you'll find a gentleman perhaps who's in their 50s who have advanced chronic needs, and they need support at home, which,
Right.
and, I look at this again, you see many people who are aging well into their years and aging well, and they only need healthcare or social services at the very end. So I don't look at age as being the diagnosis of a person's needs. And I think there's much more comprehensive things we can look at.
Right. So the people that come to you, are they coming on their own? Are they getting referred from other professionals, or is it a mix of both?
It's a bit of everything, actually. We definitely take self-referrals. So a family member or yourself can call. We take physicians. If they see if we can be of help to them, they might make a recommendation. We also get referrals from the Home and Community Care Support Association organization, which is a part of the government of Ontario.
Right.
And so we'll get referrals through them. So they come in multiple ways: phone call, email, online applications. We get them in any which way. I think every week we get about 1,000 phone calls of individuals looking for our service.
Now, during COVID, did that really spike? Or
It did, especially for our food security program. And their mental health program. I would think that those were the two things that really more and more demand for.
Right.
And I'm very proud to say that we kept all of our services running in the home during that time, and we kept our day programs going as long as we could, and very quickly back up. So we didn't miss a beat as far as providing services to our community. But definitely our volume for meals programs and for mental health and supports went up.
Yeah, I imagine it would have. How are you funded?
Great question. We about 88% of our funding comes from the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Ministry of Health. We have some funding that comes through fundraising, and some of our fees are through client fees. So some of our programs will require a co-payment of a client. So if they come into our day program, there's a fee because it's not fully subsidized by the government. If there is an inability to pay, we try and accommodate as many people as we can with by removing that fee, and that's what we fundraise for. So we don't fundraise for operations. We fundraise to help provide subsidies to those people who could benefit from our services, but they're unable to pay the fee to use them.
Okay. What are some of the challenges that with an organization, what you're doing on this such large scale? What some of the challenges that you're facing these days?
Oh, geez, there's no shortage of them. And I see them as opportunities. I think if you ask anyone in my shoes that runs an organization like this, they will say that the first thing is funding keeping pace with inflation and growth. And for a decade, we received no additional funding.
Right.
We're just seeing that trickle in now. Okay. I think the other area would be the demand of our services continues to grow. So while you're trying to keep the lights on and pay your staff, a fair wage, there's more and more people coming through your door. The other challenge might be in human resources and volunteer recruitment. I will say we're quite successful on that. We have a 95% retention rate for our staff. Okay. Some of our staff have been with us for 25, 30 years, and some of our volunteers have been with us for the same amount of time. We built quite a family here. The other area would be in technology, and that's something that's big on me because I think that we have to invest in technology so we're ready for the new generation of people coming. And that's not something that the government has really supported in the past.
No. They're always a little bit behind. So
yeah, and I'm okay with being a leader. I think our organization and our board, we like being innovators. That's the great thing about Community Care Durham. We don't always have to live inside a shoebox, and we can test new boundaries. We can respond to ways that the community might need us in a way that maybe a hospital can't because we're more flexible, or a long-term care home has rigid guidelines. We can innovate and move fairly quickly, and that's a great thing about our organization and other community organizations.
Right. Well, I mean, because the needs could change without a moment's notice.
100%, and they are changing. So,
when as the population grows, the demographics change, and the programs have to change with it.
Well, if you think about, I'm 54 now, so I drive down Brock Road through Whitby, and I see the 55 plus seniors activity center, and I'm like, I'm pretty close to that group, you know, and I say this because, we'll talk a little bit about our food programs in the future. Many of my parents and my parents' parents grew up in a wartime generation where things were the GI meal, the frozen dinner, the things that you took out of the fridge. But if you ask many individuals now who are in their 50s or 60s and looking at retirement, they have a whole different set of dietary needs. They have different active lifestyles. It's a different culture, even within regardless of where they come from, language or ethnicity or race, they have a different set of expectations, and we need to evolve with that. And they're much more savvy than perhaps as far as technology is concerned.
Right. Okay. We've got a couple minutes before we have to take the break. So what are some of and we're going to get into, your mobile food market, because that's the press release that went out. We want to talk about that. But what are some of the events that you do or what you do for fundraising to help, build the funds?
Yeah, we have 2 mailouts every year where we target a couple of different programs. Right now, we're targeting caregiver supports.
Okay.
And in the fall, we cover food security and mental health.
Okay.
So right now, what we're focusing on is some of our programs where we can provide respite to caregivers so they can get out of the home, do their shopping, do their personal chores, meet with a friend, go to work, take care of a grandchild, while their loved one is at home and getting the support they need. And we do that through several different programs. So we're finding there's a huge demand on respite services. Caregivers in this country contribute billions of dollars in unpaid work to the healthcare system.
Right.
And they're burning out, and they're at the end of their ropes, and we're hoping to help them. Yeah.
Okay. So you do mail out asking for donations and things like that?
Yeah, that's one thing. And then we do our food box program in the fall, which I can talk about later.
Yep.
And we have our walk coming up which is a walk kilometers for CCD in Whitby. This year's at Carruthers Creek. Yeah. And we're really looking forward to that.
All right. Well, we're going to go for a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about all those things you're doing in the food boxes and everything like that. So just hold on right there. Okay. Thanks, everybody. You're watching Helping Durham Region. My name's Rob MacArthur. My guest is James Malosh, Community Care Durham. And we'll be right back after this.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
It's been a long time coming.
You don't win it to keep it, you win it to be a part of its history.
Always knew.
Always hard to see the difference between winning and losing.
The quest for the hardest trophy to win in sports. Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Helping Durham Region. I'm your host, Rob MacArthur, and my guest today is James Malash, the CEO of Community Care Durham. And before the break, we were talking all about some of the programs and things and what's going on. But now we're going to sort of focus mostly on the fundraising efforts that helps Community Care Durham do the programs that they do that help residents so much. So actually, honestly, James, like whatever you want to talk about first, go for it.
Well, I will talk a little bit about this. I just mentioned our current campaign.
Yeah.
But one thing I do want to, maybe if those are people are listening and they work in a business or they work in a company here in Durham and they're looking for ways to contribute, we run a pretty cool program in the winter where people can fundraise in their organization to put together food boxes for local residents or meals. And then they can be a part of the delivery of those food boxes or meals as well. So as far as engagement of staff and employees is concerned, it's an opportunity to raise dollars, but not just hand over a check, but it's to be involved in the meeting of members of our community. And I find like every once in a while I'm able to get out there too, Rob, and meet with clients.
Yep.
I try and meet with my volunteers often, but when I meet with clients, I'm remembered what I do this for. And I think for many people in our community, we think of those in need as being an abstract principle. We think of them as there's someone out there that needs us more than others, and
Right.
Or more than we need them. And
Yeah.
I believe once you engage in that process of volunteerism or in philanthropy and getting out and meeting these individuals, you realize how impactful your small commitment of time or resources can have on an individual.
Right.
It can break their day, which is otherwise silence and loneliness, into an area of engagement and feeling that they're actually a member of the community.
Right.
And I believe that is actually as powerful than just the gift of something like a meal or a food box. It's the greeting of two individuals or community members meeting those who are actually in need and recognizing them as humans who are actually deserving of that respect and of that time. So
Yeah.
I think to me, that's where that's a real powerful opportunity to donate.
Yeah, I volunteer helping seniors with areas of identity theft and their computers and taxes and stuff. I just go in and help. But honestly, I mean, I'm helping them, but they really just want to chat.
Yeah.
They just want to, talk to somebody about anything. And I think that's the real benefit of it. So I agree totally.
I think when we find things to bring our purpose, whether that's through fundraising or volunteering, we're actually providing hope to individuals. And what I remind people is that hope and purpose are two sides of the same coin. And the act of giving is actually an act of generosity to someone who really needs hope. And without that hope, they give up.
Yeah. So you released recently, Ian sent out a press release on your mobile food market that was successful last year and is expanding. So why don't you tell us all about that?
Well, let me get back up a little bit during COVID, because this is actually where it started. And we were asked by many of our clients to help put together or go grocery shopping for them. You remember the time when it was difficult to go into a grocery store, it was unsafe. We couldn't logistically do that. But we ended up coming up with another solution, which was to put a food box together with as much as possible locally sourced items, baked goods, dairy, cheese. We didn't really do a lot of dry goods because that's available in the food bank, but also vegetables. So we partnered with the Durham College, the Bartlett Center for Food, and we've been delivering this program ever since. And as much as possible, it's a farm-to-table experience in the summer months. And then we source with our local partners food that we deliver every week to people across the region. What happened was with our partnership with Durham College was that it grew out. I thought, well, if we're doing this on a week-to-week basis, what about providing a mobile food market where we can set up in a community and provide affordably priced vegetables and fruits to individuals in that community? And we might engage a different clientele. And that's what we did. And so last year we started in Ajax, and it was in I think June when we started. First few weeks were fairly quiet, but within a couple of weeks, my team were coming back and they had nothing in the van. It was all sold out. So blueberries, raspberries, beautiful items that were all locally grown and source available at a lower cost than I would find elsewhere.
Nice.
And so our vision here, getting back to, remember we were talking about earlier about the changing perspectives of our aging population,
Yes.
is that we think, in Durham, we misrepresent the fact of how strong it is as an agricultural community.
Mm-hmm.
We actually are blessed with a tremendous amount of local resources and local farms. An idea, I think, is that as a community organization, can we bring that local richness back to our community at a way that's actually affordable to them? Mm-hmm. So it was tremendously successful, sorry. And we're returning back to Ajax this year on Wednesdays, and we're expanding to Whitby. The town of Whitby came and asked us if we'd do the same, and we're doing that on Fridays in Whitby.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and you think about, I mean, you're helping, the people, but you're helping the farmers.
Well, that was the intention during COVID, was like helping the bakers, helping the local and we don't focus on getting donations from them. We'll purchase those items.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Because we are a business in the sense that we're not looking for handouts all the time.
No.
But we want to be helping our local businesses, our local education centers. And by the same time, not taking the profit, is translating that savings on to our community.
Right. But it's a win-win situation when you think about it from all views.
I think so. And it's just, here's another thing. My staff will talk to me about the people they meet on these days, where people will come to the market, have a chance to meet with our team, mm-hmm. talk about what's happening, what they're going to cook with. There's recipes that they can, I think last year we had tomatillos. I'm like, what do you do with that? And we had a recipe for a salsa. So I think that to me is exciting, because we're now connecting with members in our community at a different level.
Right. So do you think this will be a permanent thing, and think it's going to grow? Could you be asked by other municipalities or areas in Durham?
We would love to. We just need to increase our food supply. And,
yes.
And I think Durham College and the town of Ajax are looking at urban farms. Same with Whitby. I think that's the future. If we can partner with urban growers and local neighborhood farms or growing areas, we might have a way to expand. I do believe it would be amazing if we ran it in every community. We're not competing with the local farmers market. We do it other days because that's important to them. But we just run a small, quiet operation, and I'd be happy to be in Pickering or happy to be in Oshawa or Clarington anytime.
Yeah,
or Uxbridge. I don't want to leave anyone out.
That's right. No, everybody within Durham. Yes. Well, and you're right. You don't want to obviously take away from the other markets, but once a week, they only do it once a week, and there's more need than once a week. So now if you're doing it, that's twice a week. Well, that's better. And they could probably use it more, because people want that healthy food, and they do want to support local, where they're not sure exactly, it's not accessible or it's hard to get to.
We also try and set up in neighborhoods where we know there's a high percentage of lower income individuals who are older adults. So we target areas that are geared towards our population, our community.
Right.
Rather than being, at a downtown market or something else where it's a big traffic and walk through.
Right. That's amazing. And so, I mean, you're buying it from the farmers and you're putting it, but it is raising some revenue for you, or at least covering the costs and things like that, which is always good. That
we just barely cover costs last year.
Yeah.
And that's okay with us, because again, if we're reaching the community and telling them more about our services, because when they come and see us, we can remind them of other programs we have, and it's a great way to reach out to our community.
Well, and it's interesting because I do analysis of charities, what donations are spent on, and if you're somebody who wants to donate to something, here's something that you're really helping people. There's not that overhead that sometimes can be charged on programs and services that might be a little excessive sometimes. So the fact that you're barely getting by on it, but you're providing the service is, to me, would say, let's throw some donations this way, because you can help more people that way, especially with food and that type of thing, and the businesses.
Yeah, and when I think what I find is a challenge, and again, having worked in the healthcare space for a long time, many community organizations rely on fundraising to operate their daily operations. And we don't take that approach.
No.
Our fundraising goes to building and creating capacity for our community.
Right.
We work very hard to be an efficient organization with all the tools of any business so that we know we're doing a good job.
Right.
And so I think we've got some exciting things coming up down the future, Rob, about how we want to grow in Durham, whether it's new day programs, a new center we're planning coming up for health and wellness. We have a long-term vision. We've been around for 48 years, and we expect to be around for another 50.
Great. That's awesome. Now, you mentioned volunteers, and there might be some people interested maybe helping out. So what are some of the volunteer opportunities, and what would they go about? We got a few minutes left, so we can talk about this. If people might be interested in helping out.
And we would love that. I mean, there's always a need. Right now, I can tell you, we have a volunteer button on our webpage, and we have many options for people volunteering. Okay. Some people don't really feel comfortable being out in the community. They might be a little shy, or they have other sets of skills. We have volunteer opportunities within the office. Okay. With working with our human resources team or our finance team, just people or being at our office to help answer the phone. But mostly what we're looking for, I would say, is our Meals on Wheels drivers. Right. And I would recommend even a younger person, if you're out there today and you're working at home and you have time in the middle of the day, maybe once every 2 weeks, it only takes an hour to drive by, pick up a warm box of meals, deliver a hot meal, and the reward that you will get for doing that is immense. And it might just take an hour of your week, and you don't have to do it every week. You don't have to do it every day. Transportation, we're drivers, key. And the other area that's important to us is now we're doing telephone reassurance. If you have some inability to get out of your home, or you have some mobility issues, but you're able to pick up the phone and call a neighbor, call someone in your community, and develop a relationship with them. We try and match people with similar interests. Okay. And just spend an hour on the phone, or perhaps go for coffee or tea together. What you're doing is you're just helping that individual connect with the community, and you're providing something really valuable to them. Time. That is the most important thing. And so there's plenty of opportunities for volunteerism. But those would be three that I would just off the top. Meals on Wheels, transportation, and our friendly visiting program.
Yeah, I know I was helping out. I live in actually Northumberland. I was helping out a bit, getting people to appointments and things like that. And they're really appreciative. Again, somebody to talk to. Because of COVID, everybody was sort of jammed up and you had video meetings, but it's not that human contact, I think. So
I think that makes a big difference for everyone, the person receiving the service, the time, and the volunteer.
Yeah, that's right. That's people should definitely, and I know the website will be on the screen. They should definitely check out. Consider, a lot of people, they can't give money, but they can give time. And sometimes time is almost more valuable, that type of time.
Well, we've just been running a series of volunteer appreciation events across the region. And our theme was every moment counts. Yeah. And it's true. I think even in the realm where I work as a CEO of an organization, what I've told, is that time is our most precious commodity.
Speaking of time.
We run out of it.
We've run out of it, but we're going to have a follow-up. But anyways, thank you, James, so much for joining us, and all the best with your programs and everything that's going on here. So thanks very much for coming.
Thanks for having me, Rob.
All right. My guest has been James Malash. He's the CEO of Community Care Durham. You're watching Helping Durham Region on Rogers TV Durham. And my name's Rob MacArthur. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Connect with us by visiting our website.